Just going lives.
We're live.
We're live.
As we
We did it. Second
hello,
EKF live.
What?
How's it going?
We already got a person, unless that's Ken.
Might be me. I'm our biggest fan.
That's great. That's good.
It's not
All right, how's everybody doing?
How do we have it? It's not. It's not. Where is it? Oh, there it is.
It's on YouTube.
One watching.
You should probably post it to Facebook.
I'll do that. This is why we need a countdown.
That's right. We're gonna get.
Well, we're already 5 minutes behind schedule, so
We're doing great.
We need to change the name to the EKF shit show.
Oh, it's got a ring to it.
I think it'd be so negative.
I'm not.
Ken's a negative Nelly.
No, I'm not. Keeping it real. All right. Here we go.
4 whole people. Drop a comment.
Yeah, we need some help. We need some help tonight.
Yeah. What's up, Mr. J Silva Fishing? I miss you. I haven't seen you in a while.
Who is it?
Mr. J Silva Fishing.
Oh, what's up? You didn't see him last weekend?
No, I did. That was a joke. 8 people. All right. So for all you 8 guys, Jake Angelus, the one and only. How do you actually say his last name?
I think it's Angelus.
It's Angelus, yeah, but I've heard it like Angelus.
I said Angulas.
Yeah,
that's fancy.
Anyways, the man, the myth, the legend is not going to be able to make it tonight. He is going to bang his head at some concert. Don't know who he's listening to, but hope he has a good time and
hope it's a good concert.
Hopefully he'll be on soon.
I know New Kids on the Block are on tour, so just saying.
I did not get those tickets.
It's funny. The only reason why I know that is a lot of my friends have been posting videos from it, and people that I never knew listen to that. Did you see Mike McKinstry? Like Mike McKinstry, like he's not really one of my friends, but he posted a video. Dude's he's singing all the lyrics. Like he knows those songs. But I had other friends doing it too. Janet Jackson, another one. Friend posted a video. Yeah.
She's touring?
I guess, yeah. But
I'd rather go to Janet Jackson than New Kids on the Block.
Not somebody.
Interesting.
Yeah, Janet Jackson did. I met. It's a funny story. I don't know how we're talking about New Kids on the Block. Back in the day, one of the bands that I was in was at Normandy Sound Studio, and Joey McIntyre was there. And this was like, I don't know if New Kids had broken up or something, but this was when he was trying to change his image, and he introduced himself as Joey Mac, and he was trying to be all hard. Dude, we just roasted him for freaking days. It was hilarious.
Wait, he introduced himself to you as Joey Mac?
Yeah, because he was there
Joey Mac treatment.
He was recording his first solo album there or something.
Wow.
Yeah, introduced himself as Joey Mac and trying to be all kind of like hood. It was just funny. Sorry.
You can't just suddenly become hard after New Kids on the Block.
Yeah, I know. But
that's a tough swerve. Anyways.
All right.
Speaking of good transitions.
Yeah. Let's talk about fishing.
Let's talk about fishing.
Kayak fishing in particular.
Sounds good.
So we have an announcement. Ken, do you wanna do it, or do you want me to do it?
Yeah, I can do it. That's fine. You guys might have seen that we approved the YakAttack LeaderBoard for use in EKF events. John's had it for a while. There's a lot of drama surrounding it, which is kind of weird, right? I know there are people, they love Catch, they love Duke and all that and everything he's done for kayak fishing, and that's great. We do as well, but it's not a competition thing for us. It's just another board. It's another product that's available now. We are sponsored, obviously, by YakAttack, but that had nothing to do with it. Catch makes our trophies, and we'll probably continue to in the future.
It's just about providing options, right? It's not about
that's all it is. It's out there, and there's no reason for us to, not allow it. It's a sturdy board. It's John and I used it in a tournament, the MAKB knockout series match that we had against each other. We both used it, loved it. It's got the cool little cull tags on it, which I didn't think was going to be a big deal. There's 3 of them, and I didn't think I was going to use any of them. I don't know if I'll ever use all 3, but I use the one, and I love it. It's just, instead of pulling your phone out every time to see what your smallest fish is, because you always forget, right? What's my smallest fish? Always, you just take one and you just set it right there, and as long as you remember to do it every time, it's a great useful feature. But yeah, John had his wife. How much your wife weigh?
About $130.
Yeah,
Stand
I know you can ask the guy. You can't ask her.
I mean, I know we don't have a ton of people watching, but the fact that
no, but like John, did you see the video John posted?
I did. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I think we could just say like a grown adult stepped on it.
Okay, whatever.
That's fine. My wife did actually. My wife.
I think I'm a grown adult. Do you think it would hold me? I'm not so sure. You know what I mean? Put it into perspective.
Yeah. But also, YakAttack had released a video of, I can't remember his name, but he was standing on the center of it, and it was between 2 pallets.
That's right. Yeah.
So it was holding up a grown man, not a grown man, but an adult male. The board's solid. I'm stoked on the quality of the board. It uses the same sort of laser etching that the Catch Carbonate does. It's a measuring board, right? How crazy can it be? Yeah. It's not a piece of junk. It's great. It's got built-in floats. It's got some accessories.
It's a good evolution, I think.
Board. So it comes in with the built-in identifier holder. That's on the fence of the board. It folds down, flips up. You can buy a separate one that will. It sits in the same position that the Catch ID holder does. So like along the width of the board along the top. I just got that in the mail, I don't know, an hour ago. I can't figure out how to put it on. I was about to break it. I was so mad.
There's videos. There are videos.
I know I got to watch videos, but yeah, it should come with instructions. So if you buy it, I would encourage you to look online first, because if you're like me and you have like no patience, I was ready to throw it across the yard. And I mean, I didn't give it much time. It's like 3 minutes. You're looking at it, and it's like, this should be simple.
Right. It's one of those things you try to do quick. And
it's like, and I couldn't, and I was so annoyed. But that's another option too. So you could, if you have one of those or 2, you can put probably multiple versions of those on it. So yeah, it's a board. But anyway, so yeah, it's now approved for use in our events.
One of the concerns about the board that I've heard being raised up that I think we should speak to is it kind of came up between the match that you two had. Just that, so one of the concerns that I've heard about it, and I've actually heard it, like I've seen it referred to as like the fatal flaw, which I want to like just discuss because I don't think it actually is. But I've heard people refer to the fatal flaw as being the low res image submissions of it and being hard to make out the lines. But my thinking on that is like the low res images like have already posed that challenge, and it's one of the things that like we warn about in captains meetings and also like even like in the MAKB event I fished, like you guys warned about it, like low res if you can, but be sure to be ready to provide the high definition photo. I don't know if you want to speak about that, but I've heard that I've heard that around the interwebs.
Yeah, obviously the low res feature is great. And Fishing Chaos obviously. But a lot of people use it when they don't need to, which kind of poses problems. But yeah, I mean, we require them to use the app. So if they have a low resolution image, you're gonna have to ask them for it. But I don't really see a difference in that. What we did notice in our match with John is that another cool feature
about the mirror
is the mirror, which makes it very easy for you to see if the fish's lip is actually touching the board. If there's any separation, you could see it really well. The problem is that he had a bad signal where we fished, so it had like a Bubba Bass lip, and you really couldn't make it out. You couldn't tell if it was like a piece of weed or something like that, because the lip was malformed, so to speak, compared to other fish or a typical bass. So that could be a problem. So, but it's really.
I want to contest that, because I really think if the fish's lip was off. No, and I've tried this on multiple fish. If that fish's lip is not touching that board, there is a orange reflection in that mirror that shows all around until the fish lip. So if you have it not touching, it's pretty easy to tell. And I think that's going to help a lot, especially with low resolution photos, that there is some sort of orange reflection. And
that part's cool. I like that.
Do we know if YakAttack will sell extra like stickers? Because it's just a sticker.
I'm not sure, but yeah, it's just a sticker. I'm assuming that you could they'll probably end up selling like a 5-pack or something. That's what I'm assuming. Or their stuff is usually lifetime guaranteed. So you might be able to get, a couple for free. So that's another thing, is that most of their stuff's lifetime guaranteed. I'm not sure about the board off the top of my head, but you guys can check into it. And then again, to run back on what you were saying about visibility of the actual numbers, I've now officially taken photos in completely overcast and rain all the way to bluebird skies at noontime when the sun's the highest. And personally, I have yet to come to a point where my photos aren't, the numbers aren't visible. They're clear. They remind me just like a carbonate board, a clean one, because all boards can get distorted from having them be messy. So visibility wise and structural wise, and then cool little gadgets. It's a great board. It's not by any means going to make you a better angler, but it's just, I think, another reliable board. So
yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, I think so. And like, it's honestly like the things that I've heard about it in terms of concerns, because I still have yet to try one out myself. But the concerns people had about this board really persist with any board, and kind of just speak to like really some of the limitations we have that are just brought on by cell service, right? Because most cell phones these days don't have a hard time taking like a really crystal clear picture of the fish that would be easy for us. And regardless of the color scheme, there's so many variations on the catch board. Like, and some of them I think we've all seen like don't lend themselves to like the best contrast in photos. And I think like one of them is like the like that light kind of bright blue in the white lines. Like those are kind of tough. So it's like we have the challenges that I've heard tossed around. They're not new challenges. They're challenges we have anyways. And it just kind of speaks to, those are just like the added touches and importance that goes into like who's judging the competition and their experience with like the photography format, right? Like just what to look at, how to look at it, how to find ways to like sharpen the image. Like Ken, the way you put filters on images, they kind of get a better look at it. Like that's the stuff. That's where like the problems really at this point are where like the judges come into play. And also where like the directors come into play, where it's like, asking for that backup photograph, asking for a resubmission or something in the event that it's close. But otherwise it's hard to see like any added risk with the YakAttack board compared to like catch. That's how it is for me. It's like everything I've heard and other complaints I've heard, it's like there are issues and concerns for both options. So it really doesn't.
Yeah, like the people complaining, it's just weird to me. I guess people just like to complain online, but
yeah, there'll always be something.
There was somebody who posted about the reflection. He posted a picture, and it's like you could see there was more of a reflection on the YakAttack board than on the catch board, but it's like they could have been a light above him. It was probably a light that was probably more over the YakAttack board than the catch board. But at the same time, it's like every board has a problem with glare. Just you gotta. It's something that the angler has to deal with. And
like sometimes you got to turn your kayak to get out of the glare. I've had that before.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's something that every board has. I mean, it's like, but people like using that as an example of why you shouldn't get this board, and to me, it's just dumb.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now there's two boards on the market that you can use in a lot of kayak tournaments. It's like not a big deal.
This is the first time in a while you've had options. I know that Yak Gear one that initially came out, the folding one, but it turned out like it had plenty of play.
Yeah, which I didn't know about the play. Like I didn't even think about bending it with the little center divider. When I had it, I bought it just because it could fold up, and I had a little Subaru Crosstrek that I was just jamming fishing gear in. I was like, oh, cool. I've already broken 2 of these other boards. I'll get a new one. So
who was the one that made the telescopic one? Somebody posted a picture. There's like some nationwide tournament going on right now.
Oh, Plano makes that one, I think.
Yeah, I think it is Plano.
I don't think it's Plano. Either way, it's like that gray one.
Yeah.
But somebody was using it in some nationwide tournament. Those online things that
Frable or something.
Yeah, something like that. But and they had like it went from like 19 inches or 18 inches to like 21.
21, yeah.
Yeah, something like that, and it's just like apparently it was approved, and but that's a board that definitely shouldn't be allowed. Yeah. Then there's the paper boards. Those ones are good. The guys using the paper boards.
Oh yeah,
the roll up ones. They use them for like and you'll see them like you'll have to use Photoshop, and you just you'll have to like take a screenshot of like the inch marker, and then you just kind of line them all up. What they do is they fold it like in the middle over itself, and then they lay the bass on top of it, and it completely blocks it. So you got these guys that do they're like the swim bait guys around here that do the big bass tournaments and stuff. They'll do that crap.
Yeah, those mats. Any picture I see on those mats, like it's like no holds barred. The mouths are wide open. Fish is like, covered in pine needles.
The bass is like 3 inches back from the front of the first line. So and then it's a mess. But anyway,
some of those are bad. Some of those are real bad. Those pictures, I don't know.
Mike Morcone.
So anyways, if you want a new board, if you're in the market for a new board, I recommend it. It's a little different. I personally like it. And they're approved by EKF and MAKB if you're one of the MAKB guys.
I just saw there's a webpage that they're adding all of the trails that have approved it. EKF's not on there yet, but our post was up like a week ago. So as of that post, it's good, which means it will be an option for our upcoming Winnie event here in a couple weeks, which is kind of crazy. We went from like having a 2-month layoff. I think we had like a month and a half ahead of us, and now suddenly I was looking at a calendar today, and I'm like, oh yeah, we got an event coming up.
It's coming up quick too.
It's very quick. This week's gonna fly. So
yeah. So if you guys didn't see my post today, if you are looking for a place to stay, or if you were going to be looking for a place to stay, I would do it sooner rather than later. Because it's
ASAP. Get it done now.
It's tourist season up there, so things are going to sell out and book up pretty quick. We're having trouble finding a place, and we haven't had a problem before, right?
No, I mean it's always a weird one. I'm normally like for the EKF stuff, I normally kind of find that. Well, we all find them, but I reserve the Airbnbs and stuff. But because I live 15 minutes away, this is one I always kind of underestimate for a place to stay. But it does make it easy from like the running the tournament standpoint. But a positive thing to share that we'll share now, and then we'll talk more about Winnie, and then probably share it again at the end of the podcast. If you sign up for Winnie, if you've already signed up for Winnie, you're already qualified for this. Because I think we have like 7 people signed up already. But if you sign up for our the Winnie event before July 14th, so we're looking to, we're having the cutoff. If you sign up for the event between now, or if you already have in the 14th of July, we're going to be giving away a power pole to somebody who's registered in that. So we're trying to get folks to sign up before like the days leading up to the event, because that helps us. And so to help make it easier for folks, we're going to give away a power pole, the micro anchor, and the spike. Is that right, Ken? And the spike.
Yep.
So if you sign up between now and the 14th, you'll be entered to win a power pole micro anchor. So
which is a what, $800 value?
I think so.
It's about $1,000, right?
Yeah.
The spike's $100, I believe, and the anchor is $599, $699.
Yeah, I think it comes out to like
Either way,
700, 800.
Yeah, pretty good deal, just for registering early.
I think so.
Yeah. So,
I mean, yeah, you're gonna sign up anyways, right? Why not?
I do think, I think it's going to be a really cool time of year to go there. I don't know. I feel like we've been on Winnie for, but I think we've been on Winnie for KBF during July. I think I want to say.
Maybe.
One thing I'll say is it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a great event. It's also going to be, one where you have to really be aware because boat traffic in July. Honestly, it might not be coming off of the 4th. It might be like a little bit slower, and I might also just be like super overly optimistic here.
I don't think so. I think maybe there'll be more people 4th of July weekend, but there's still going to be a ridiculous amount of people.
I mean, Winnie is as advertised. If you fished here before, it really hasn't changed much over the years in terms of like boat traffic and how the areas are, but. My fishing there has changed over the years, but I also haven't fished there a ton. I do live about 15 minutes from Alton Bay, and I still the only time I see Alton Bay is when I'm driving by it, not when I'm fishing it. So,
yeah, no, it's going to be a good event. It's always a good event. Plenty of fish to be caught. The guys who have forward-facing sonar can get out there and in the middle of nowhere and catch them. But they're also shallow. You can get this big largemouth. If you know certain spots, you can get them. You get big smallies shallow. There's tons of rocks and boulders and all that stuff. So they all don't just go out deep. You know what I mean? So there's something there for everybody. And again, like I said, the largemouth are not to be overlooked. So.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah, I mean, there's some big fish.
Definitely one I'm sad to be not fishing.
I'm trying to think back. How did smallmouth win it last year or not last year? Last time we had an event here,
smallies, yeah,
they because it was it the year before that like a largemouth was caught like first thing, a massive largemouth was caught first thing.
Yeah, that was when Josh Smith won. He caught like a 22 or something like that. I think we looked at that last time, or we maybe on the podcast or just in general. But he had a couple of largemouth. We were looking at that.
Yeah.
So, but anybody that fishes the Moulton Borough area, there's a lot of largies up there. There's a couple of bays that get weedy, so there's largemouth in there. So yeah, there's plenty of largemouth. The smallies are probably more prevalent, probably easier to catch.
22 and a half was the lunker.
Jeez. I think that was the lunker for the season, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. He won. He
beat me. That was the last regular season event, and he beat me. Yeah, I'm just looking at the picture now. That's hilarious. Forgot about that. And then that was John was in third in that event. Wow. I mean, Winnie is the type of place like you can win either way. Honestly, it feels like any given day too, because it's such a big place that it's not one of those places where like largemouth just aren't biting, right? It's one of those places that they're not biting in this area. Like that's how big it is. It's one of those like this lakes that takes like an hour to drive around. It's big. It's got pockets everywhere. We did get a question about Lee's Mills ramp.
Yeah. There's we're still working with Moulton Borough, the town. They took over the ramps, trying to get. It costs money now. It's a pain in the butt. So we're still working on that.
And we're trying to pay it. Like we're trying to do it. Just don't hear back from them.
Yep.
Yeah, throw down in the comments what you guys think is going to take to win it. I'm curious what you guys. I know people have already put in a couple days practice. So.
Really?
Well, yeah, a couple people have gone up.
Nice.
Some people take the weekend trip up there and
we haven't broken 90 inches yet.
Shocking, honestly.
Yeah. 89 and a half, I think, is what Mike had last time, 2022. And I don't think we've broken 90 in any of the other events, KBF or anything, right?
No. Yeah, I think a bag of 18s, just about on average.
Yeah, I'm looking.
That makes sense. I can see that. You get that, and then that one kicker. Oh, 90.5 smallies.
When was that?
Yeah, when was that, Mike?
Was that the KBF event? That might have been the KBF event the next day.
Man, that last year, the 2022 event was tight.
2022 was what?
91.75.
When was that?
Where are these numbers coming from?
Yeah. Oh, that's your guess. Oh my God, we're stupid.
Oh.
Yeah, you know what? I think
we're
so.
dumb.
Oh, somebody broke 90 in the Hobie event. I don't remember. But yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be there. I'd be stoked to see mid 90s, but there's gonna be a little fish caught, and I'm actually really jealous that we're not fishing this one. Dude, it's a lot of fun. I know a couple spots where you could go scope some smallies and then go like flip some grass and catch some large.
We can fish plenty of the lakes right around it, and
not Winnie.
Winnie's one of those places though. Like it's like pre-fishing, they change quick. I feel like around there, and then there's also one of the other tough parts that I found with pre-fishing there is like when you find spots that are great during the week, only to get there on a Saturday and have them just be absolute madhouse. Like it was a couple of years ago, I sat on the Witches, and it's like one of the most well-marked like hazardous areas in the whole lake. And the amount of people, man, I thought I was going to see somebody bite it. I was like, am I going to, I had the GoPro going. I thought I was going to see somebody eat it on the rocks. Like there was a couple jet skiers that I stopped, and I was telling them like, yo, it goes to like 2 feet, like real quick right here. Yeah. And the guy behind him goes, oh, he's just trying to save his fishing spot. I go, all right, I did my job here. Like, you go ahead. Like I did my civic duty here and said something, but go ahead. I'm not calling anybody. And they did actually listen to me, which was good. But yeah, that area, it's just, it's, I don't know. I don't know if it's, I think besides Wall and Poppack, it's the worst boaters I've seen. Wall and Poppack takes the cake though. There was some serious.
I don't know if that was necessarily bad, as opposed to just there were a lot of people.
I saw people blowing through no wakes, like crazy.
What I saw in Wall and Poppack was just like tons of pontoons.
Oh, it was it was pontoon overload.
I've said this before, like around 10 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock, like just coming down the lake was like 100 of them. I thought
give me all the pontoons versus wake boats that are slowly going by, looking like, oh, look at those. Yeah. What's that? That's a cool rig. And then you just get freaking seasick after the 10th one.
Winnie's wild, man. It can get crazy there.
Yeah. I still have a visual in my head. The last time we had a tournament there, or this is the last time I fished a tournament there, was like it was quiet early in the morning, lines in 7 a.m., ready to fish. And then 7:30, 8 o'clock hits, and I just see in the horizon. And the way I have it in my memory is it was Mad Max. What's the
Thunderdome?
No, not the newer one, Furiosa, but the one
Fury Road.
Fury Road, yeah. It was literally like Mad Max Fury Road. I looked, and it was just all on the horizon, just boats coming towards me. And it was just like, oh my God, this is going to get crazy. And it did. It was like a washing machine all day. But no exaggeration, that's what it looked like.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy place. I think it's one of those places where I'd make extra careful to make sure I have the flag on my kayak, like just in case. I think that's something that's like lights and a flag on one of Pasaki, I think, are definitely a must-have for safety, but also like being legal. But I anything you can do to make yourself visible, don't assume anything on one of Pasaki. That's like how I feel.
The weirdest part about that lake is just the amount of boat traffic that is on that lake on any given day, and it's probably the one lake that I have seen the most people swimming out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah,
like literally just in the middle of no flags, nothing, the things the divers have they have like the ball, like just swimming. It's weird. It's weird because I used to do bass boat tournaments there all the time.
Well, they were all in kayaks at one point.
Who? What? Those people?
The people swimming. It's a joke. Get it?
Get it. Sorry, went over my head for a second. I ruined that one for you. My bad. But yeah, it's a very, I don't know, it's a weird place. But whatever the case, it's going to be a good event. We're going to have Jake talk about it, But Jake is he's the man up there. He's always the man to beat, people think. So out there fishing in 100 feet of water. So he says,
Yeah, he knows that place extremely well. They did a lot of fishing there for KFL when I was going, like a lot of practice up there. So he's a force to be reckoned with all the time, but he knows Winnie especially well. But I mean, it's fishing. Anybody could win. So
he's not alone. There's a few people though. There's a few really people who are really familiar with Winnie, just folks from New Hampshire, and then you also just have the folks in the club that fish just that are great at fishing deep and getting the electronics going. That's always interesting to see, because I don't know how people fish it a lot up here, because like this time of year I'll go anywhere else, but I get it. There's good fish to be had.
When you're on a school of smallies and they're just biting and you're not even paying attention to the boat traffic, and I get it. If you want a numbers day.
Who's winning this thing? We're gonna do a prediction.
It's hard, dude. It's hard to tell.
There's so many fish there. I mean, it's anybody's game. You know what I mean? It'll probably be close though. I don't think anybody's gonna run away with it.
I don't think people usually don't run away with it. I feel like the top.
It'll be tight at the top.
An inch or two.
Yeah.
So 2022, the first and second were tied. Mark Marcone and Nick Audi were tied 89.5, and then the third place was Jake with 88 3/4. So that's tight. It's less than an inch. And then there's a tie for third and fourth that year too. So first and second are a tie. Third and fourth were a tie. Yeah. And then Matt Lee was in fifth, and that's only a 1/4 inch less than third and fourth. So it was 88.5. And then Ken, you were in sixth with 88. So that's all within 2 inches, 1 through 6.
Yeah. And Mike definitely has a good comment here. Weather is a wild card. That's for damn sure. It always is, but in a place like that, man, it could be devastating to somebody's game plan.
Yeah. Some of those smaller coves and stuff, you can that's where I found, and that was the first time, I've said this before, that I really got on the forward facing sonar bite. I was just crossing a bay, just happened to see some lone dots out in the middle of nowhere, 70 feet of water, down 30 feet. So I cast to them, and they were, it's like boom, 17-inch smallie. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? That was at that point, I hadn't used it a whole lot. And that was a pretty small cove. So even with big wind, there's probably some spots that people can get out of the wind and do their offshore thing. But yeah, I mean, definitely it would affect, anybody out on the main lake.
Yeah,
sure.
Hopefully it's not too bad. I mean,
we've been lucky.
Yeah, I think about that always reminds me of Champlain last year, with just the wind we had, like the perfectly bad wind. It's like it cut my pre-fishing went pretty well, and then it cut down my fishable area to like a third. And it was just, I don't know. But Winnie, there's enough at Winnie where it's like really, no matter which way the wind is blowing, you can find some protected areas, like quite a few of them really. So just kind of the benefits of like the way it's laid out, the shape of it, some of the structure, like some of the islands everywhere. I don't know. Should be okay, hopefully.
Yeah, don't be a hero either. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, as always. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. We don't do that.
Yeah. So for folks that maybe haven't seen yet or haven't checked out the page on Fishing Chaos, the awards location for Winnie is going to be in the same place I think we've always had it. Leavitt Park.
Except the first
same facility there.
Or EKF. EKF, we've always had it.
Yeah. Here. Okay. Yeah.
But the first KBF event, I ran up there.
We had
it at Fun Spot.
Yeah, it was Fun Spot. Getting pizza at Fun Spot. That was
in the birthday room with all the kids. It was awesome.
We were like behind. They were like under the stairs though. Like they were kind of ashamed of us. Right. Like they weren't. We weren't the best PR move, And
it wasn't even a trail event. It was supposed to be, but we didn't hit the 30 angler threshold. We had like 27, 21, something like that. So it wasn't even a trail event. It was just a tournament.
That's crazy. How many years ago? That was at
2017 or 18.
17. Yeah. And now we could hit 30 guys in our local clubs.
Yeah.
in just
Jeez,
one of the divisions.
That
How
might
cool
have
is
been
that?
2016.
Was it 2016? No,
It
it
might have been.
might have been.
I gotta see.
But I
No.
think it's so cool how far kayak fishing has come.
Oh,
And I
for
mean,
sure. We had to meet up for that one too. We had to meet up at
The
Fun
morning.
Spot
At Fun Spot in the morning. in the
that
parking
morning,
lot.
and then like
Yep.
head out to our spots. Which, like, my whole plan was so bad for that event. I ran down to Alton Bay for some stupid reason.
There's some good stuff there.
There can be. There wasn't that day.
It's it takes a bit to get to, but there's some.
Oh, I know where you're talking about.
Yeah, there's some good stuff there. But it's quite a ride.
2017, Ken.
Was it?
July 8th, 2017.
Oh yeah. Yeah, 23 anglers.
This is a two-digit identifier code.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
that's
July.
right.
Oh God, where did I finish?
Well,
That's bad.
I finished 9th.
16th out of 22. 9th?
$75 entry fee.
Wow. That's a throwback. If anyone wants to see that, go on Fishing Chaos. It's still there. That's hilarious. 2017 Trail Series.
Who won that one? Is that Mark Johnson?
Yeah.
You won that? Yeah, that was what, like 81 inches or something, right?
Oh my God, hog troughs.
Yeah.
83 and 3/4.
Yeah, most of us didn't know how to fish back then, like tournament fish. Anyway,
For the pictures back then, I had like a cheap Walmart dry bag, like for a foam, that I put it in there, and it was like I just saw it again, and I'm kind of cringing at it. But like my pictures just had like this massive like dry bag laying on top of the fish. Like it would just never fly. But my big fish was 12 and a half. So, you know.
Ooh.
yeah,
Well,
when we talk about the evolution of the sport up here, if you look at the scores as well, like we used to win tournaments with 60, 70, 80 inches, you know, and now we're hitting 90s nonstop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But
Monthlies
back
especially.
then, like it took us all a while to, like, for me at least, I'll speak for myself. Like it took me a while to like kind of just figure out that, you know, tournament fishing is different, very different from just fun fishing. And I used to kind of just go out there with the fun fishing mentality, like, oh, you know, it's overcast, I'm going to throw the freaking spinnerbait all day. And I would be real stubborn and throw the spinnerbait all day because I love throwing the spinnerbait, wouldn't catch shit, you know. And I think a lot of us did the same thing, just, you know, stubbornness. And, you know, it takes a while. You know, now we look at the conditions and we probably study maps a lot more. And so now we got a lot of people moved. Like I used to fish shallow, right? We talked about earlier, we were talking about shallow water fishing. I mean, if it was.
Yeah, hold on. Let's end this debate. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys consider shallow? We're not going to tell you what we think because I don't want to spoil it. But what do you guys consider to be shallow water? I'm curious to.
I'm going to win this one.
Oh, for me, I used to
don't
fish
say it yet.
shallow. I'm saying I used to fish shallow. I wouldn't go deeper, you know. And now, of course,
I bet nobody that tournament deep at all.
No, I know there were a lot of people fishing very, very shallow. That's why there's a lot of dinks, you know. But we didn't have the electronics back then either to go deep, really. You know, forward facing sonar changed the game big time with that for a lot of people. The boat guys caught up with the rest of the world with live scope yet?
Seems like they have.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I honestly don't know. Have the boat guys caught up with us?
Is that sarcasm?
I can't tell. But also I don't know because I still think there's a lot of people who have it and there's a lot of people who don't. There's a lot of people who love it and there's a lot of people who hate it. And it's a very polarizing subject as we've talked about time and time again, which we will not talk about this time, right?
Come on, John. You love that subject.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with what Matt's saying. Like in 2022, It seems like a lot of those. I honestly think at that year, I don't think they were caught up, and I honestly don't think the adoption rate of it, I don't think was all that high back then either. Like, I know I didn't have it, and I wasn't interested in it, but
I think I got it in 2021.
So what's Mike saying here? 6.
Up north is 20, and around here is like 6, and Florida is like 6 inches. Yeah, I get it. So I think fishing shallow is 10 feet or less. Ken says 5 feet or less. And that Adam has to be like in the middle at 7. So
yeah, and I didn't know what they had picked either. So
dude, for me, 5 going past 5 feet, like 10 feet is deep. For me, I've always shallow is because I will fish in 6 inches.
Your scale goes from shallow to deep. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much. Beyond 5, it's deep. It's offshore. Yeah, so
5.5, 5 feet 5 inches is deep.
Yeah, it's deep.
And
that's right.
Matt, I'd have to agree with you that it's weird to not see him offshore, but I think it's because New York is such a serious fishing state with all the trophy lakes out there that the culture is way ahead of around here in New Hampshire. Yeah, there's a pretty big community around in New Hampshire, but
they're caught up now, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
it's something I never even noticed. I didn't notice the boats not fishing out there deep. But,
I don't feel like you see bass boats fish deep that much in general. At least I don't. But
unless they're catching them, I mean, they move around a lot too.
Yeah. In clear northern water, you basically add 10 feet to what you normally think, in my opinion.
Yeah. Ken usually gets shallower. He's usually fishing in 4 inches of water.
Oh, there's so many fish there.
How many baits have you lost on a shoreline?
What? None.
Just curious because you fish shallow. I'm not taking a jab. Like you gotta botch a couple casts here and there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It all depends on the body of water. But if you find like a stretch of grass or isolated clumps and 10 feet of water, it's just
good weed lines.
Yeah. 10 feet's not that deep, realistically, if you think about it.
It's not. I mean, I know it's not,
But weeds can kind of bring it up, right? Like even 10 feet of water, but like super dense weeds, but there's 3 to 4 foot gap between the weeds and the water. Like
there's still fish in there, dude.
Oh yeah.
That's how I caught the 1975 this weekend. MAKB tournament, and I caught the lunker smallmouth 1975 was there was bait, 10 feet of water over 3-4 feet of grass, and I was just ripping a tube through the grass, and I saw this big mark in the grass under bait, and I cast out to it. It didn't follow it down, so I just ripped it up a couple times, and I saw it chase it and ate it. But I mean, that's not deep to me. That's just, it's I guess it's subjective, right? But
I feel like there's a second level before deep. I don't know. Like to me, it's like I think there's shallow, and then there's in between, and then there's deep. I don't know.
And then again, sometimes 20 I don't think is deep, depending on the body of water. Like especially if there's no thermocline, like the fisher can get out to 60 feet. And
did you see this weekend the Bassmaster release? They were fishing over 100 feet, but they were suspended, like in the 20 to 30 range. That was neat to watch.
That's the crazy part about forward-facing sonar is that you have people doing that now, and where in the past they never would have done that.
That's not true at all, though. They would use 2D.
Not like in the middle of nowhere.
That's how I started fishing offshore. Was I would drop
100 feet of water, nothing around
water. For sure. You'd come across bait, and then you'd see marks, and then you would stop.
Not like it is today.
Drop your bait down.
Some of these guys, though, this weekend were targeting, like in the South especially, though, they're targeting like a single fish.
Right.
One fish just on its own, it looks like in some cases. That's the part that I thought was crazy.
For me, from what I've seen with forward facing, is the single fish they're not easier to catch, but when they're grouped up, they're moving fast. Like the single fish seem to be just kind of chilling, moving around slowly. But when you see a group of them, they are in and out. So
you're saying there's a reason the fish is by itself? Like nobody likes it?
No.
It's the dumb one? It's the eager one?
The loner. But no, that's nothing to do with what we're talking about. It's just
I guess that's best case scenario, right? When you got that big mark and you're like, that looks like a bass, and he's just hanging out. And it just you're in no rush and you can cast out to him and get it to him and he's not moving. But then other times they're chasing bait and then they're there and then they're gone.
I hate when I see the group of them. It's like, oh my God, because then you're trying to get to them quick and you make a bad cast. It's like it's so stressful because that you've got like one shot or two max, and before they're out of there.
Yeah, Matt in 2020. Yeah, he was doing it over in Great Pond. I was doing the same thing on Messalonsky. Was it 2020? I think it was 2020.
It wasn't as effective. Do you know what I mean? Like you come across a pod of fish, you drop down on it, but you didn't.
It's effective, but not as efficient. Just like Matt said, inefficient. Yeah, it's not. But for the technology at that point in time, it's what we had. It's what we did.
But you can't even see if
and I placed
the fish
third that year or fourth. That was a super trail, I think.
It also could be that I'm just not that good with the electronics in general to know exactly where that fish is. Like you see it on your sonar, but I don't know.
I learned it from ice fishing.
Yeah, I had a general idea, but I didn't know enough like I do with active target to know like, okay, yep, there it is. Like, you know what I mean? You take the time to turn, point the transducer and be like, yep, there it is. You get a general direction and you cast it. Like for me, it was like, I don't know. I'd be trying to like orient myself. Like if there's any sort of wind, throw me off course. I lose my reference and I'm like, hoping the fish is really hungry.
I'm not as good with the electronics as other people.
Yeah,
way better than I used to be, but definitely not. If I can find a shallow bite, that's what I'm going for. That's why I use forward facing sonar. Unlike probably most people, I use it just to see what's in front of me, not really to find the fish. There's some grass. There's a grass clump. There's a rock. That sort of thing. That's what I kind of use it for. I'm not using it to like pinpoint fish necessarily. So
I use it to look. I know what I'm doing.
It's great. There's some cool things you can do with it that way. I've mentioned this before, but at the Potomac River that year, the cove that I was in, I paddled all the way to the back because the water was so low. There was a ton of grass, and I had the old Jackson motor that couldn't handle a blade of grass. So I paddled all the way. And then on the way out, I'm like, I didn't want to paddle. And I figured out that if I had the forward-facing sonar and I could follow the river channel, there was like a little creek channel that went through all the weeds. And I could use that forward-facing to use the motor to find my way out. And it zigzagged all the way out of the bay. And it was awesome.
There should have been way more fish in that bay.
Yeah, it was tough. A lot of catfish, big catfish. I caught some giant catfish. Yeah,
Potomac.
But anyway,
if you guys want to do catfish charter, Ken and I can take you to the Potomac and put you on some good ones.
Giants.
Wow, nice, good plug.
I still think we should go to the Potomac someday. But
well,
you have to be seen.
Can't even get guys to go to Raystown. So
yeah, that was Potomac was an option, and now I'm not so sure. It's a great fishery, man. It's a lot of fun.
How anybody, all 11 of you listening, what is the farthest you're willing to travel for a body of water for EKF? And it's not going to be some crappy body of water. It's going to be a pretty good body of water. What's the amount of hours, the amount of miles?
I guess that's a question too. It was Raystown. I mean, some people said it was the distance. But I mean, it's not that far, right? I mean, it's 8 hours, 8.5 hours, at least from where I'm at. It's a day drive, right? You can get there in a day. But I think part of it had to do with the fact that it was Raystown, and a lot of people said Raystown sucked, which I completely disagree with. And I wish Jake was here because he agrees. Like he did the research and he thought it was going to be awesome. But like if we did Potomac, right?
Look at this. This is what kills me.
Yeah. See?
Yeah, so he fished Raystown because he had booked travel and everything already there, and he said, "Screw it, I'm gonna go anyways," and he did. And look, it's all, and he's a stick. He knows what he's doing. So
yeah, it's unfortunate. I think it was going to be great. I mean, I get it when you compare it to the Susky. Susky's a lot of fun. It's crazy the way you catch fish there, super shallow. But yeah, not a well-known place,
So yeah, so Ray thinks it's just the place.
If we had it at the Potomac, would people go, right? Would they make that drive? That's a more well-known, or Chesapeake Bay, That's a little bit farther. That's out of the Northeast. I mean, so is Potomac, but Chesapeake is, I believe, a little bit farther. I don't even know if we want to go that far. I don't know.
I mean, we'll go. People will fish. We'll go.
It's tough though. Like, do we want to fish the same bodies of water over and over and over, or do you want to branch out new?
Yeah, Matt had messaged me too, because last podcast we had talked about we'll just go to the well-known places. Screw it, right? I think I was a little annoyed that we had to cancel. I guess I am a little annoyed that we had to cancel the event, because it was an interest. But I get it, I've always argued against the mentality that we should be fishing high quality, high class lakes that have giants, and I've always said we're tournament fishing. The goal should be to win, but I think Matt was more concerned with, like, are we never going to pick a kind of a lesser known spot again? And I don't think that's the case, even though I might have said it, But yeah, I think we should try new bodies of water, and I think Raystown is a great option for it. It's a big lake. It's in, it's not the Susky.
Well, you got to think of it. You guys have heard me say this reference time and time again, or Adam and Ken. I don't know about anybody else, but look at the elites. How many times have they been to the Sabine River?
Mm-hmm. Right.
How great of a fishery is the Sabine River? It's not. It's a grinder of a fishery with a lot of small fish.
Yeah. Where were they fishing this weekend?
Smith Lake.
Smith Lake.
Yeah.
Lots of tiny. I mean, what's it? Taku caught what, a 5?
Like, he caught I think he was saying, I don't know what it ended up being. He was saying it was like a 6, but it was like,
I can't remember. It was a giant though. I mean, it was like, but like they were talking about the whole week, like 3-pounders were like, that's the quality of fish that you really wanted, like a kicker, a 3-pound kicker. Everybody was putting in what would McKinney? What the hell is his name? That's his name, right? Trey
McKinney.
Yeah, McKinney. Yeah. He had 16 pounds the day he was DQ'd, or had his he was DQ'd, right? For the phone call. Yeah. So 16 pounds. They were talking about how that was going to be like the biggest limit of the event. 4-day event, a 16-pound bag. Being the biggest bag. I mean, that's crazy. But yeah, they fish those places, right? So that's the way I look at it, right? You're fishing a tournament. I know I've said this a lot, so probably getting old at this point. But yeah, I would I would like to keep doing that. I kind of wish others would as well.
We'll keep pushing. I mean, we'll keep pushing a little bit. Like, you can't have all big names every time.
I guess it makes it easier when fishing those places is your career. That's what you do versus,
of course,
making the event for fun. A lot of people do this for fun instead of,
they do. They want to.
How many anglers out of all of them that fish EKF are really gunning for Angler of the Year or to win first? It's recreation based, right? Most of the time.
Yeah. Sure.
I wish we could get. I mean, that's it. Will the sport ever get to that point where, the vast majority of the anglers treat it in a more professional manner, the way the way that they view it, the way that they fish, the way that they act, all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, look at KBF years ago when they had their stuff together. We were traveling all over the country to fish KBF, and then got Hobie. They were on fire 3 years ago. And then you got bass, right? Bass is the biggest thing in bass fishing right now. They don't give the Northeast much love.
But it's not the same though. Is it?
If there were more options with bass, I honestly think that it'd be pretty crazy. But because
I just wonder if there's too many trails now, if it's gotten watered down. Because there's a lot of big local trails out there where you can go and win, a couple grand.
Right. But nothing supports the Northeast like KBF did. So there was a whole lot of chances to prove yourself in the Northeast when KBF was at its biggest. And then, Hobie, yeah, it would have been freaking cool for Hobie or Bass to have, something that we could do, or even not have to fish one and then travel 14, 15, 16 to 20 plus hours for the rest of the season. Like that's where it turns me off is I don't have the time or money to travel 3 tournaments away that are 24 hours.
Yeah, that's how the season's always started when we're fishing KBF too. It's like going to like Lake Murray and it's like 18 hours plus. And it was like, yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to compete in that, right? Like it's tough. You got to to make it worth it. You got to go for like an entire week. Then you're fishing in an area of the country that's way different than up here. Like it's just tough to be competitive in that. And like, so like when they had their regional, I know it was a ton of events. It must've been a ton of work for them, but that was to me was like the peak KBF, like the regional stuff. And then it came.
It was so much fun. We had so much to do. We traveled as a group and then we fished our butts off because we were competing as hard as we could.
Yeah. Cause everybody wanted to get into the 10. Everybody wanted that, the national championship, of course, easy to qualify, always easy to qualify for it. But I mean, that thing was crazy. It was so much fun. And it sucks. It sucks what happened.
Yeah. We are hoping.
I would love for another big trail to kind of, it can't be us. We're not national, you know what I mean? But to go that route where I don't feel like Bass and Hobie, it doesn't have the same community aspect to it. I think that's like the component, like that's missing from both of those. I'm not saying there's no camaraderie between the anglers and stuff, but there's not something bigger there besides the events.
But do you think it's because we're jaded, or not? Is jaded the right word? We don't.
Yeah, we feel slighted. Yeah,
we do, but we're not there. We fish one a year or 2 a year.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know.
You're not putting all your eggs in the basket. But that's a problem, right? Is because we don't have those opportunities. We're not getting emotionally involved. We're not getting excited to try to go for AOY in Bass because it just doesn't logistically. It doesn't make sense for us.
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
Unless you have the time to do it.
Yeah, I would love to see them have more events up here. I mean, it's a missed opportunity. It might screw us over. In a way, if they did have a bunch of events up here. But at the same time. I'd still love to see it.
Yeah,
for sure. I know
Bassmaster, right? It's I love EKF, but Bassmaster is that's the deal. It's been around for 50 plus years. You know what I mean? To have a bigger presence up here in the Northeast where there's tons of anglers. I mean, it's a missed opportunity in my opinion. And I mean, it's not like KBF. They did the same thing. It took them a while. Yeah, the regional thing was great, but before that and after that. Yeah,
but our regional events were packed.
Right. Yeah, we'd get, 1-2 events, one way out on Lake Erie. I mean, I guess technically the Northeast because it's Pennsylvania, but, that's a long drive, East-West Harbor, even farther, You didn't have
to make.
Well, we didn't care. Right? We didn't care though.
I've went, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was different, but there was still. You remember there was we used to do the no respect thing, right? As a joke, because we would get overlooked. So that's always been a problem. But like one of these bigger trails, if they actually focused up, he had 2 or 3 events. They would have to have more. But I think it would be very beneficial for them.
I do, and I'd be excited to fish them.
Yeah,
I'm being excited to fish something that I could be, ranked at a national level. Like that's exciting.
Yep.
I never had that problem. All right. We're wrapping this thing up. It's my anniversary tonight, so I want to thank my wife for letting me do this. I gotta go hang out with her. I don't have to. I would like to. Thank you.
How long? How many years? What are we talking about?
We've been
30 years?
No, we've been together 21 years.
Jesus,
been married for 12.
That's as old as Jake.
Yeah, we've been together since high school. So
nice. You guys gonna go crack open a bottle of wine, slice some cheese.
Oh,
that's fancy for New Hampshire.
Sarah McLaughlin.
But that for sure, yeah.
bust out the New Kids on the Block
Some
cassettes.
Kenny G. Make me feel like I'm at the dentist. Anyway.
Oh, nice. All right, so all 12 of you joined before July 14th and win a power pole, possibly.
Yeah, what a power pole. We'll put something out
Actually,
on
win a
Facebook.
power pole. YakAttack boards. If you want them, go get them. You can use them. I like mine. And yeah, go sign up for Winnipesaukee, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah, sounds good. Take care, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.